If you've been in tech department for like some years or in the tech industry, or at least you are one of those people that actually know and want to know about the tech one of those people that want to know about the tech industry, of course, you know that sadly AMD seems to be kind of trying to be NVIDIA, and I don't like it.
The ability to get 10 times more performance every 5 years has ended.
A few moments later.
Moore's law is probably currently running at about 2 times.
Now I can tell you right away that I have information that AMD sent me about the event that will be coming up in like 2.5 hours or something like that. I'll be doing a live stream, by the way, but I had an embargo, so I couldn't actually let you know about anything, of course, but it has been leaked on video cards about the pricing of the RX 7600 XT, and I can tell you right away that it is I don't really know who's taking these decisions inside AMD. It makes absolutely no sense. And you might think, well, the RX 7600 XT has 16GB, we all know that, we knew that before, but what about pricing? AMD is pricing it at $329, so basically $60, once again $60 for double the VRAM. And you might think, well, but it's the XT version, it is faster, right? No.
Why?
That's the whole problem of this. It's because it's exactly the same card as the RX 7600, but they just add an XT to the end of the naming scheme and then 16GB VRAM, and it makes no sense. It would be fine if they would be charging, let's say, $289, and even then I would not like the naming scheme. It should just be called RX 7600 16GB, and with that in mind it would be completely fine, since it was indeed, and it is indeed, an RX 7600, but it has 16GB and maybe a bit higher clocks.
And just because of that, I'm gonna leave you with today's sponsor. Today's sponsor is Maximum Settings, a cloud-based gaming service where you won't need to spend thousands of dollars to upgrade your PC or a personal nuclear plant to boot up your system.
Just do it!
And for as low as 9.95 Canadian dollars a month, you can play the most recent games on your computer, even if your hardware isn't prepared. Sign up today for your full Linux gaming PC with no resource sharing and start enjoying high-level gaming on any PC.
But no, AMD just had to pull an NVIDIA on this one and call it XT somehow. But it has nothing of XT because it only has, once again, slightly higher clocks, which will mean nothing if you overclock your card. They will reach exactly the same clocks, because I don't see the 7600 XT reaching 3.2 or 3.3 GHz constantly in order to deliver a decent performance uplift versus the 7600, and most of them, the decent models, can reach the 7600, the normal ones can reach 3 GB, so I don't see any benefits from getting the XT, once again, apart the 16 GB. And it would be okay, once again, if it was costing, let's say, $40 more, maximum $40 more, so for the $300 while bringing 16 GB, meaning that it would still be slightly less expensive than the RTX 4060 while delivering double the VRAM. And you might say once again, well, but it is still on price, more or less on price with the 4060, and has 16 GB VRAM. Yes, it has double the VRAM once again, but it is still slower or slightly slower than the 4060. It still consumes a lot more power. Upscaling is inferior because the DLSS in terms of upscaling is much better, and frame generation is in much more games compared to the AMD side. So the 4060 has all these upsides, while the only upside of the 7600 XT is the 16 GB VRAM, which makes no sense once again. $289, $299, it would be okay, but $60 over a card that's exactly the same as the new one, but has, well, half the VRAM, it makes no sense. This is just AMD pulling an NVIDIA out. And if you remember, for example, the scandal of the RTX 4080 12GB, which is in fact the 4070 Ti, NVIDIA was trying to sell the 4070 Ti 12GB as the 4080 12GB. So they would, instead of you paying, for example, $1299 for the RTX 4080, which is already super expensive, they wanted you to pay the $12.99 once again for, or something like that, or $9.99, something like that, insane, for a card that is now the 4070 Ti, and people complained about that, so they actually unlaunched or unreleased the 4080 12GB and called it 4070 Ti 12GB. Once again, AMD is doing the same because they just stamped an XT over the 7600, had a 8GB VRAM, binned the clocks a bit more and called it a new card, which is bollocks and overall. And yeah, basically that's it for today's video just before the live stream. It's just me ranting about this because I do not like the fact that AMD is becoming NVIDIA. And the third competitor that we currently have on the market, Intel. By the way, you can watch these recent videos that I released, 40 games on the Intel Arc A770, tested to see if the Intel Arc GPUs are now worth it, sorry. And also a comparison of the RX 7600 versus RTX 4060 versus Arc A770, since they are roughly at the same price. I'm not liking what I'm seeing. Intel Battle Mage will be released this year, and maybe we get a new price performance GPU because Intel needs the market share. If they are actually trying to sell their GPUs, they need to lower the prices in order to get some market share, in order to make things profitable, of course. And AMD and NVIDIA will have to, well, to lower prices as well. But as we stand right now, I do not see AMD as the budget option anymore. It's actually the opposite. In terms of the mid ground, if we're talking about maybe the 7700 XT, the 7800 XT, and maybe even the 7900 XT, we do get AMD as the best price performance option. If we go to the XTX, well, it depends on the country. In some countries the XTX is much cheaper than the 4080, in some others it's the opposite, so there it depends. But overall, in the mid ground, AMD is the best one in terms of price performance. But when it comes to the lower tier, it's funny to say that, but NVIDIA is just stomping over AMD here, because once again, slightly more expensive, or in some cases or in some countries about the same price, but has better upscaling, more games with frame generation, way lower power consumption. I mean, it's a win-win situation. And you have the CUDA core, so if you want to do some professional workloads, it will help a lot as well. So it's a win-win situation, and AMD can't beat that, besides the pricing that they are not taking advantage of when releasing the 7600 XT. Damn, I don't really know who's making these decisions, but they're definitely awful. Definitely. Thanks a lot for watching. Don't forget to hit like, subscribe, and share this video. Don't forget, in some hours I'll be live streaming the event that AMD will be presenting. I believe that the event NVIDIA will be presenting as well is like half an hour later, presenting the RTX 4000 super cards, I believe. I don't really know. But since I'm just only one, I can't be live streaming two things at the same time, but we'll see. Thanks a lot for watching, and see you in some hours, guys. Cheers.
Bye.